Chief Constable, thank you for joining me here in Abergavenny for our Public Accountability Forum. I'm really pleased that you've been able to join me today. And as you know, as part of the work that we do in preparing for the forum, we come out into the communities and we talk to people about their experiences of policing and also any concerns that they might have. And very recently, I was able to come on a walkabout with some neighbourhood policing officers and also some of our town councillors and the leader of the council herself. And we had a great walk around the town centre, and we were also able to speak to people about their concerns. And some of their concerns, some of the issues that were raised with us, are what forms the basis of some of my questions today. So I'd just like to begin really by thinking about focusing on retail, and as you know, retail crime is a priority. Addressing this is a priority in my police crime and justice plan. And from the feedback that we've been given, retail theft does remain a concern in Abergavenny. Could you give us a little bit more information about what Gwent Police are doing to tackle this, and what advice are Gwent Police giving to businesses experiencing issues?
Yeah, certainly. So thanks, Commissioner. I think retail crime, understandably, a concern. I think we've seen nationally some well-voiced victims' concerns of people who've got businesses who are concerned about their future. And no doubt, you know, that is mirrored across Gwent also. I think, obviously, we know that that's part of your police and crime justice plan. Also, encouragingly, the Home Office have got a Safer Streets initiative where they've asked us to really focus on retail crime too. And I've definitely undertaken that as part of the Chief Constable's delivery plan. I think some encouraging things to know is that in spite of that perception of increasing crime, we are, as an outlier in Monmouth, and in Gwent wider, reducing in relation to shoplifting particularly. If you look at the period January through to August for the whole of Monmouthshire, we're actually down 6 shoplifting offences, which sounds like a very small number. But when you think the escalating, quite dramatic escalating figures that are being seen in other parts of the country, it's actually encouraging that we're going in the other direction. Now that comes through a real target of neighbourhood policing officers working with partners and also working with people who've got businesses to target harden. And what we've undertaken in Gwent is a specific problem-orientated policing approach, where some of our successes in Monmouth have been down to targeting repeat offenders. And there were 2 particular offenders who were prolific in Abergavenny, one of whom is now sentenced and in custody. In prison, and one who's awaiting sentencing later in September. And we've seen as a result of that, of targeting those individuals, shoplifting reducing in the town. But like I say, across the whole month, that is our approach to tackling this issue. And we're also going and giving advice out to retailers, utilising smart water products to make their items less attractive to steal, and looking at how they can enhance their security measures, their CCTV, and their ability to make their place less attractive for this type of crime.
Thank you for that, and it is an issue, isn't it? It is something that is a concern. Something else that has come up, and it comes up in many areas as an issue, is antisocial behaviour. Now, we know that antisocial behaviour has a significant impact on communities and families and individuals within communities as well. Here in Abergavenny, a lot of people have raised concerns around antisocial behaviour in and around the town centre. And this is particularly around the Bailey Park area, is certainly something that came up in the discussions that I had, the Bailey Park, the train station. So what are you doing to tackle antisocial behaviour within Abergavenny town centre?
So antisocial behaviour forms a real part of me trying to get our organisation to have that mission of improving trust and confidence in Gwent Police, because I hear from communities right across Gwent and Monmouthshire, and specifically Abergavenny, their complaints over antisocial behaviour. I think, again, it's really encouraging to see that we've had reductions in antisocial behaviour over recent times. Abergavenny particularly was having spikes in antisocial behaviour with some individuals who were coming into the town from further afield. Back in March 2025, we arrested and voluntarily interviewed some individuals who were doing that. And I'm pleased to say that since that date, antisocial behaviour has halved, more than halved, within Abergavenny, which is really good to see. We're also utilising all our abilities to use the legislation that we got to tackle these issues, educating people as well to try and make a real impact, because we're aware that the negative impact this can have on people's lives. And in line with where I really see a focus of a strong neighbourhood presence with visibility, our community teams are out there conducting action and making sure that they address the issues which are hotspots and concerns like you named earlier.
Thank you. It's very reassuring to hear that. Now, as you know, I'm currently researching the views and experiences of children and young people across the whole of Gwent in order to develop a charter for young people. Over the summer, we've engaged with hundreds of young people on this. And here in Abergavenny, young people have highlighted to us concerns about drug use and drug dealing within the town, especially concerns about the potential for young people to be recruited into that. And they've also raised concerns with us around what they describe as boy racers and dangerous driving in the town and nearby areas. What reassurance can you give the young people of Abergavenny that these issues are being tackled?
So it's disappointing to hear those concerns, and understandably, as someone who's got young children myself, that they're issues that I can see that would be a real priority for them and also for parents as well. And safety in the town centres and on the road network is really imperative. In line with some of the things I discussed earlier, what we've undertaken is a real investment in tackling issues within and Abergavenny specifically is one of a number of places within Gwent that we've successfully received some funding for an operation. Specifically, it's called Operation Lockwood, which is tackling issues just as you just described in peak areas right across Gwent. It means an additional 9,000 police officer hours are dedicated in hotspots which are designated throughout Gwent, and Abergavenny is one of the benefactors for that. So tackling those issues is very much part of their of police's responsibilities. We have officers out on foot and additional roads policing specialist ops officers who are able to tackle these issues with a problem-orientated policing approach.
It's very positive to hear that, and I'm sure that our residents here in Abergavenny will really welcome that, especially our young people. It's good to have that reassurance for them. There is an aspect of antisocial behaviour that is become very prominent, and it's good to hear the additional investment in officer hours to deal with that. Many residents here in Abergavenny have raised the issue around off-road bikes, and we know this comes up quite a lot here in Gwent. And it's not just about the impact that it has in our residential areas, but also on our heritage landscape here in Gwent as well, and our beautiful countryside. Now, very often, and we've heard here in Abergavenny that this is the case, very often people driving the bikes are known to the community, so people will know who they are and so on. And residents would like to know how they can support police activity around this, but what are the police doing specifically in relation to off-road biking here in Gwent?
Like yourself, I go out to community council, speak to stakeholders, and I hear off-road biking being a consistent thing that people have got as amongst their community concerns. And I hear that, and we want to tackle that issue effectively. And what's really encouraging to hear is that residents would like to know how to contribute to that too. So reporting things is a huge thing for us. Making sure that we're aware of where these bikes are, we can tackle them, because pursuing these bikes are not an option. It's just too dangerous a thing to undertake. We don't want to have any personal tragedies happening in relation to that. So we've got to tackle the issue in different ways. So we need residents to report where these bikes are in their community. They can do that via calling us on 101 or via our social media online accounts. Or if they want to do it anonymously, they can do that via Crime Stoppers too. When we do that, we can tackle that issue on a number of ways. We can tackle issues in local garages who are selling to people who are underage. We can make sure that we seize bikes when we find out exactly where they are. We can utilise our drones to actually view them from a distance and see where they go back in a garage, so that we can seize and take those bikes off the street that are dangerous. Now, we're tackling that very hard and fast. We've seized 300 vehicles in this financial year alone, sorry, the last calendar year, and 150 of them have been off-road bikes. So it's a real priority for us. What I will add to this is that I hear about those concerns, and I know that community-focused policing is what people want to see. Now, we've got community action teams, which we've launched across Gwent for some of the busier areas to tackle antisocial behaviour and crime on a neighbourhood level, really enhancing neighbourhood policing. But specific benefactors of the additional thing I'm going to talk to you about are the people of Monmouthshire. So we've enhanced our rural crime team, enhanced it with extra officers and to add to the PCSOs and existing officers to tackle some of those particular issues of off-road biking and damage to heritage sites, and using their thermal technology and their drone technology, thermal imagery technology and their drone technology. They're having some real successes. So they're really starting to get to the root of things that are affecting people within this area.
That's really positive to hear, and I had the good fortune actually to be able to go out with the rural crime team, and we went to a Usk showground where they were able to demonstrate how they are using that drone technology to support their work, and I found that to be such an interesting development in terms of how technology can support policing and keep, particularly in relation to the off-road vehicles, actually keep police and citizens safe when doing so. So it's a great advance, isn't it, in terms of supporting policing. One of the issues that came up when I came to Abergavenny on the walkabout with representatives here in the community were issues around community tensions and graffiti, particularly in relation to the old library on Baker Street. And there are some wonderful community groups and faith groups here in Abergavenny that do a great job in their communities. And a number of people, well, a considerable number of people, have raised concerns about community safety as a result of what's believed to be a very small minority of people expressing opposition to the new mosque, including, most regrettably, incidents of graffiti with anti-mosque messages. What reassurance can you give to residents around these issues, that they are safe and this is an inclusive community? So
this is something I feel very passionately about personally. Our mission, as I said already, in Gwent Police is to improve trust and confidence in Gwent Police. Our vision is to be an inclusive, caring and connected organisation providing a quality service to the people of Gwent. Now, we can only do that by being inclusive to all. So when we have incidents which are hate crimes, they will be dealt with effectively and robustly. Now, I understand everybody has an opinion in relation to being able to have a freedom of expression on things that they feel passionately about. But that freedom comes in a way that you do it in a way which is not infringing the rights of other people and is not criminal and is not intimidating. So I'm aware that there is a divided opinion from some in relation to the use of the building to be a mosque. Personally, I think it's a fantastic addition to Monmouthshire to have that of the first mosque within the county and a really inclusive environment for us. Unfortunately, what I see in my national capacity as the lead on public order is an increasing amount of misinformation and disinformation. And unfortunately, some of this things that are put on social media and the like is wholly inaccurate, and there are some assumptions that are made that people of different ethnic heritage are associated to illegal immigration and people who are seeking asylum when those individuals are not at all. And it's very disappointing that this sometimes gains rhetoric quickly and sometimes leads to actions which are racist as well. And there's no place for that in Gwent. We will tackle racism and hate crime robustly. We want people to feel safe. Everybody's got a fundamental right to feel safe in their communities. The vast majority of people that I see throughout Gwent are good people who are welcoming and are proud of the place where they live. And we want that to continue. And by being that inclusive environment, that starts with our officers as well. I think that makes for a better place and a better society and a better community for us all to live in.
Thank you for that, Chief Constable. And I have to say, on behalf of the people of Gwent, I really welcome that approach. It's really positive to hear that from Gwent Police, so I do welcome that. And I hope that really does provide assurance to the community here that their concerns are being taken seriously and issues will be addressed. I'd just like to stay on issues of equality and just moving slightly to another issue. We've had some legal judgments most recently that are disappointing, to say the least. But I would like to talk to you about Pride and the Pride movement. We've seen a growing Pride movement here in Abergavenny, which is wonderful. And we've actually attended some of the events here. My team has attended the events and spoken to many hundreds of residents on issues that they might be experiencing. And we know that here in Abergavenny, there has sometimes in the past been a tension between the LGBTQ community and policing here in Gwent. What are Gwent Police doing to improve these relationships and build trust and confidence within this community?
So I think you're right to pick up on these comments, Commissioner. I think the LGBTQ community, we definitely would like to advance improving relationships with them, specifically for the people who are organising Pride events, because we want people to be able to have events within the local communities safely and securely, and one that they feel is a really good experience for everybody. I can understand that the recent judgments have been deeply concerning for people and affected people personally. I've seen that for people within our own workforce because we are representative of the community wider, and I've seen it for people who are associated to our partner agencies and also the wider community. It's an incredibly challenging time with some decisions that have been made. I can understand how that would make some people feel vulnerable and some people feel quite scared regards their future. And I want us to do everything we can to reassure people that regardless of judgments and hearings, we are an inclusive organisation. We are an organisation where we welcome people in of all different types because they are representative of the community that we serve, and will always be that way. Whatever happens. So that is the future of Gwent Police as far as I'm concerned, and that's the way that we'll connect with the public and get that trust and confidence of the communities longer term as well.
Thank you for that, Chief Constable, and I really welcome that, and I know that people in the community here in Abergavenny will welcome that as well. In November, we were able to come along and visit the new police facility that we've got here in Abergavenny. I think it's a great facility that represents significant investment in policing here in Abergavenny and the surrounding area. Just in relation to this, though, one of the issues that's come up when I've spoken to people is really questions around the relocation of the station and the effectiveness of the one-stop shop at the market. Can you tell us a little bit more about the impact that the new station has had on operational policing in and around Abergavenny? Because I'm sure the residents would be interested to hear about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think probably there's a bit of a misperception about that building being a police station. I'd rather describe it as an operational police base. We obviously have our requirements to meet emergency and response times within our set parameters. We need to go to emergency response calls within 15 minutes, our routine response calls within 1 hour. Now, in the geography of Monmouthshire, that's sometimes quite challenging with the road network. So with a lot of research, which was undertaken, utilising technology as well, we were able to identify that the location of where the operational police base is gives us a fantastic launch pad for the strategic road network and gives us an opportunity to reach some of those calls at the first opportunity. It's also not too far from the town of Abergavenny to be able to have a neighbourhood presence there too, and to be able to operate from there also. But because it's a little bit further out, it's not a public-facing station, and it was really important for us to maintain that public ability for people to be able to speak to people in person, because I understand that is really important to people. And obviously we've got our police station which is open to the public in Monmouth, but having something bespoke for Abergavenny is really important. So hence we've got the one-stop shop there to be able to call in. Now there are opening hours which are generally between 9 and 1 and 2 and 5 Monday to Thursday. And the same on Friday, other than it finishes at 4:30. So people have got the ability to speak to people. But the numbers in relation to the wider perception of people going into police stations full stop are reducing. I know traditionally there are people who still like to do that, and we need to be able to cater that need. But our footfall nationally, let alone in Gwent, has dropped dramatically because people can communicate with us on a multitude of different forums now. So having that wide reach of methodology is important, but having it in a way where we're proportionately being able to resource that and spending the public's money with the right staff in the right places to cater all those needs is something that I've got to watch effectively as well.
I've visited Abergavenny a few times since I've been in this role, and I have to say, for the one-stop shop, it's a great location, isn't it? Very central location, easily accessed. And when I came on the walkabout here in Abergavenny, there was some very positive and complimentary feedback from members of the public about the neighbourhood policing team. So it's really good to hear that, and I think it's also important that whilst I ask you questions on behalf of the public, it's important that I feed back to you the positive feedback that they've given me as well. So on that note, Chief Constable, I think we'll draw this particular Public Accountability Forum session to a close. Thank you once again for joining me here today, and I hope the citizens of Abergavenny and wider Monmouthshire are assured from what they've heard from us here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner.